They say empathy makes us human, the ability to feel what others feel, to connect on a level that goes beyond words. But what if the very thing that makes you kind, compassionate and human, is also the thing that's slowly destroying you from the inside? What if caring too deeply doesn't actually make you noble, but instead makes you a hostage to everyone else's pain? Today, we're venturing into the shadows to explore the dark side of empathy, and why your greatest strength might be your biggest vulnerability. From the moment we're kids, we're taught that empathy is the ultimate virtue. It's the golden ticket to being a good person, the key to kindness, compassion, and meaningful connection. And it is. But what we're often not told is that empathy has a hidden, toxic side. Psychology reveals that empathy isn't always a force for good. In fact, it can become a poison when it turns into what's called emotional absorption. When you start feeling other people's pain more intensely than you feel your own reality. As psychologist Paul Bloom argues in his work, our empathy can be surprisingly biased, incredibly draining, and, in some cases, even destructive. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Empathy doesn't always lead to wise or kind actions. Sometimes, it just makes you vulnerable, leading you down a path of burnout and emotional exhaustion. Let me tell you a story. Think about someone you might know, or maybe this person is you. Let's call her Lena. Lena was the kind of person everyone leaned on. She was the friend you called at 3 a.m. with a crisis, the shoulder everyone cried on, the rock in every storm. When someone was hurting, she listened without judgment. When someone felt broken, she was there to help pick up the pieces. She was the designated savior for her entire circle. But over time, something began to shift. Her bright smile started to dim. Her energy, once boundless, was now constantly depleted. It wasn't because of anything malicious people did to her. It was because she carried everyone else's wounds on her back and completely forgot to tend to her own. Lena believed that her purpose, her empathy, meant she had to save everyone. But in her relentless quest to fix others, she ended up losing herself. This isn't just a sad story. It's a recognized psychological phenomenon. What Lena experienced is called empathic distress. This happens when you absorb so much of other people as negative emotions that your brain literally starts to treat their pain as your own. It's no longer just I feel for you. It becomes I feel what you feel, and now I'm suffering too. Neuroscience gives us a fascinating and slightly terrifying look into how this works. Studies using fMRI scans show that when you witness someone in physical or emotional pain, the same regions in your brain light up as if you were the one being hurt. Specifically, the anterior insula and the anterior cingulate cortex areas, linked to our own experiences of pain, become highly active. In small doses, this is a beautiful testament to our interconnectedness. It's the biological basis for our compassion. But imagine your brain going through this process constantly, every single day. Every sad story you hear, every friend's crisis, every tragic news headline, it's like a series of small, emotional injuries being inflicted directly on your nervous system. The result, you start to feel emotionally exhausted, chronically anxious, and you might even begin to feel resentful toward the very people you're trying to help. Unchecked empathy becomes a form of emotional self. This dynamic is especially dangerous in our relationships. When one person is a chronic empath and the other is always in crisis, it creates a toxic pattern. The empath becomes the permanent healer, and the other person becomes dependent on their emotional energy, never learning to stand on their own. The balance of a healthy relationship, one built on mutual support, is completely broken. Both people end up suffering, trapped in a cycle of dependency and burnout. But here's where it gets even darker. The more empathetic you are, the more you become a target for manipulation. People with highly empathetic personalities often attract narcissists and other emotional predators. Why? Because they see your deep well of compassion not as a gift, but as a resource to be exploited. This creates the classic empath-narcissist dynamic. It's a devastatingly common pattern. You give your understanding, your patience, and your emotional energy. They take it, drain you dry, and offer little to nothing in return. You forgive their transgressions because you understand their pain or their troubled past. They see your forgiveness not as a gift, but as a green light to repeat their harmful behavior. Before you even realize what's happening, your empathy has been turned against you. It's no longer a tool for connection. It's the weapon they use to control you. This isn't love. It's emotional survival disguised as a relationship. So, what's the answer? Do we just stop caring? Do we build walls around our hearts and become cold and detached? Absolutely not. The world has enough of that already. The solution isn't to kill our empathy, but to evolve it. We need to become smarter, wiser, and more discerning in how we use it. Psychologists distinguish between two key types of empathy. The first is emotional empathy. That's the one we've been talking about, where you feel others' emotions deeply and viscerally. The second is cognitive empathy. This is the ability to understand someone's emotional state and perspective on an intellectual level, without necessarily taking on the feelings yourself. The key is to find a balance. When you combine your natural emotional empathy with strong personal boundaries, it transforms into wisdom. You start to care without collapsing. You can offer support without being consumed. You can be a source of light for someone without letting them drain your battery completely. This is what true, sustainable compassion looks like. It's not about drowning with someone in their sea of sorrow. It's about standing firmly on the shore, throwing them a life raft, and guiding them back to safety. The dark side of empathy isn't a sign that you should become cold or cynical. It's an invitation to learn how to love others and yourself without losing who you are in the process. The great psychoanalyst Carl Jung once said, "Compassion is not about sharing suffering, but transforming it. Your empathy should not be the thing that breaks you. It should be the thing that awakens you to a more conscious, more balanced way of living. Because ultimately, the world doesn't need more people who are drowning in feelings. It needs more people who can remain calm and centered in the middle of a storm and still consciously choose kindness. It needs people who can protect their own peace while extending a hand to others. If you're someone who feels things deeply, please remember this. Your empathy is a profound gift, but it's a gift that you must learn how to protect. You do not owe everyone your emotional energy. You do, however, owe yourself peace. If this message spoke to you on a personal level, you are definitely not alone. Let me know by dropping a black heart emoji in the comments if you've ever felt completely drained by caring too much, and if you want to keep exploring the psychology behind our emotions, relationships, and the path to healing. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We dive deep into the hidden sides of the mind every single week. Thank you for watching. Remember, empathy is power, but only when it's guided by wisdom.